He came back to the diner every Thursday at 8:17 p.m. He always ordered 2 coffees and touched the empty chair across from him. For 3 years, no one ever sat there. Until the night a stranger whispered his name. The bell above the door of Maple Street Diner gave its usual tired ring when Daniel Harper walked in. It was late October in Ohio, and the wind carried the smell of rain and cold iron from the railroad tracks a block away. Inside the diner the air was warm and heavy with coffee and grilled onions. Most of the booths were half full, with truckers and hospital staff finishing long shifts. Daniel paused just inside the doorway, like he always did. He scanned the room once slowly, as if he expected someone to stand up and wave. No one ever did. Lena, the night waitress, saw him and reached for 2 mugs before he even sat down. "Booth by the window," she said softly. He nodded. Daniel took his usual seat facing the door. The vinyl cushion sighed under his weight. He placed his phone on the table, then slid it back into his pocket without unlocking it. He never checked messages while he waited. Lena brought 2 coffees and set them down carefully. One in front of him, one across from him. "You want the usual?" she asked. He looked at the empty chair. "Yeah," he said after a second. "The usual. Meatloaf with mashed potatoes and green beans, and a grilled cheese sandwich cut in half." The grilled cheese was never for him. Lena did not ask questions anymore. When Daniel first started coming 3 years ago, she had tried. "Is someone joining you? You want me to wait on the second order? Is everything okay?" He would only say, "She likes grilled cheese." So Lena stopped asking. The diner clock above the pie display read 8:17 p.m. Daniel wrapped both hands around his mug and stared at the door. 3 years ago, on a Thursday night, at exactly 8:17 p.m., his daughter Emma had walked out of this diner and into the dark. He had been late picking her up from soccer practice. He had texted her to wait inside Maple Street Diner until he got there. She had replied with a thumbs up. By the time he arrived, the booth was empty. Her backpack was still under the table. The police searched for weeks, then months. There were tips and rumors and a grainy gas station camera image that might have been her. None of it led anywhere. People brought casseroles. They said, "We are praying for you." They said, "Time heals." They said, "You have to move forward." Daniel kept coming back to the diner. At first, he came every night, then every Thursday, the night she disappeared. He told himself that if she had somehow come back to that street, if she had escaped or run or found her way home, she would remember. He told her to wait there. He wanted the light in the window to mean something. So every Thursday, at 8:17 p.m., he sat in the booth and ordered 2 coffees and a grilled cheese. Tonight, the wind rattled the window beside him. He watched each person who walked in. An older couple, a group of nurses, a delivery driver. No Emma. He tried not to picture her at 14, the way she had looked that last week. Hair in a messy ponytail, one shoelace always loose. That small scar above her eyebrow from when she fell off her bike at 9. Instead, he forced himself to imagine her older. 17 now, maybe taller, maybe quieter. He wondered if she still liked grilled cheese. The door opened again around 8:42 p.m. A woman stepped in alone. She wore a dark coat and held a folder under her arm. She looked around like she was searching for someone, but unsure if she would find them. Her eyes landed on Daniel. She froze. Daniel did not recognize her at first. She was in her early 30s maybe. Tired eyes, determined mouth. She walked slowly toward his booth. "Are you Daniel Harper?" she asked. The sound of his full name made his stomach tighten. "Yes," she swallowed. "My name is Rachel Morgan. I think I know something about your daughter." For a second the entire diner went silent in his ears. The clatter of plates, the hum of conversation, all dropped away. Daniel stared at her face, searching for any sign of cruelty or mistake. "What did you say?" he asked quietly. She glanced at the empty chair across from him and then back at him. "Can I sit?" she asked. He nodded without speaking. She slid into the booth where the untouched coffee waited. She looked at the mug as if it meant something important. "I am a social worker in Columbus," she said. 3 months ago a girl came into one of our youth shelters. No ID, no phone. She would not give her real name." Daniel leaned forward. "How old?" 17, she said. "She told us she ran away from foster care years ago, but some details did not add up. She had a scar above her eyebrow, left side." Daniel felt his breath leave his body. Rachel continued. "She does not trust easily. It took weeks before she talked much. Last week during a group session, someone mentioned Maple Street. She flinched. I asked her about it later. She said she used to wait in a diner for her dad, who was always late but always came." Daniel gripped the edge of the table so hard, his knuckles turned white. "Is it her?" he whispered. Rachel opened the folder slowly. She slid a photo across the table. It was a picture taken from a distance. A girl, standing outside a brick building in Columbus. Thinner, older, hair shorter, but the eyes. Daniel pressed his hand over his mouth. Emma. He did not realize he was crying until Lena appeared beside the booth, holding the meatloaf plate. She stopped when she saw his face. "Everything okay?" she asked. Daniel could not answer. Rachel spoke gently. "We are not 100% certain, but I believe it is her." She mentioned her father used to order 2 coffees. She said he would tap the rim of his mug 3 times when he was nervous. Daniel looked down at his hand. He had been tapping the mug. 3 soft taps. He had never told anyone that. "Where is she?" he asked. "At the shelter in Columbus. But before you go, I need you to understand something. She has been through trauma. She may not remember everything clearly. She may not want to come back right away. I just need to see her," he said. "I just need her to know I never stopped coming." Rachel looked at the empty chair again. "She knows," he said. "I think part of her always knew." The clock read 9:03 p.m. Daniel stood so fast the table shook. "I can drive tonight," he said. Rachel nodded. "I will call ahead, but Daniel," he paused, "do not expect the little girl you lost. Be ready for the young woman who survived." The drive to Columbus felt both endless and too short. Rain streaked across the windshield. Daniel barely remembered the highway exits. Rachel sat in the passenger seat, giving quiet directions. He kept seeing Emma at 8 years old running through sprinklers in their backyard. Emma at 12 arguing about curfew. Emma at 14 texting him to hurry up. "What if she hates me?" he said suddenly. Rachel turned toward him. "From what I have seen, she does not hate you. She carries guilt. She thinks if she had not asked you to hurry that night, none of it would have happened." Daniel shook his head. It was not her fault. "Tell her that," Rachel said. They reached the shelter just before midnight. It was a modest brick building with a single porch light glowing above the entrance. Rachel led him inside. The hallway smelled like laundry detergent and old carpet. A night staff member nodded at them quietly. "She is awake," Rachel whispered. "She could not sleep tonight." Daniel felt his heart pounding against his ribs. Rachel stopped outside a small common room. "Give me a minute," she said. She stepped inside alone. Daniel stood in the hallway, staring at a bulletin board covered in drawings and handwritten quotes about hope. After what felt like a lifetime, Rachel reappeared. "She knows you are here," she said softly. "And she is scared, but she wants to see you." Daniel walked into the room slowly. Emma stood near the far wall. Her arms were crossed tightly over her chest, as if holding herself together. She was taller, her face thinner. The scar above her eyebrow, still faint but visible. For a moment they just looked at each other. "Hi, Peanut," he said before he could stop himself. Her eyes filled instantly. "You still call me that," she whispered. "Always." Silence stretched between them, heavy and fragile. Every Thursday. Same booth. 2 coffees. Her lips trembled. "I know." He frowned slightly. "How?" She took a shaky breath. "The first year after it happened, I ran. I was scared. The man who took me said if I tried to contact you, he would hurt you. When I finally got away, I did not know how to come home. I felt ashamed. I thought you would think I left on purpose." Daniel shook his head fiercely. "Never." She continued. 2 years ago, I came back to Maple Street once. I stood across the street. I saw you through the window. You were sitting alone, 2 coffees on the table." Daniel felt the room tilt. "You saw me." She nodded. "I was not brave enough to walk in. But I saw you tap the mug 3 times. I knew you were nervous. You always do that." He let out a broken laugh through tears. "I kept coming because I hoped you would. Just not all the way." They stood frozen another second, and then the distance between them collapsed. Emma crossed the room in 3 steps and fell into his arms. Daniel held her like he had been holding his breath for 3 years, and could finally exhale. "I am so sorry," she cried into his jacket. "You have nothing to be sorry for," he said. "You survived." They stayed like that for a long time. Eventually Emma pulled back slightly. "Do you still order grilled cheese?" she asked. "Cut in half." She smiled through tears. "I never stopped liking it." A few weeks later, on a Thursday night at 8:17 p.m., the bell above the door of Maple Street Diner rang again. Lena looked up and nearly dropped the coffee pot. Daniel stood there with a young woman beside him. They walked to the booth by the window together. 2 coffees?" Lena asked softly. Daniel glanced at Emma. 3, she said with a small grin. "I am old enough now." They all laughed quietly. When the plates arrived, Emma picked up half of the grilled cheese and took a bite. "Still perfect," she said. Daniel looked at the empty chair that had once felt like a wound. Tonight it was just a chair. The door kept opening and closing as customers came and went. Outside, the wind moved through Maple Street like it always had. But inside that small diner, something had shifted. Hope had not been foolish after all. It had been a promise kept, one Thursday at a time.